Okay, the fake Instagram guitarist. Crisis. This is interesting. What the hell is this? Oh, I've seen this before. Okay, let's just see where this goes.
So how do you know? How do you know if something's been doctored?
I had a ton of people calling this video fake, so here's a DI of it.
His top string is ringing out.
Oh my god, bro.
Audio, you can hear
We've actually watched this video.
that the top string actually gets muted.
By being dishonest, you convince an entire generation.
Bro, this is so funny because it's like so over the top. This is not that big of a deal. We watched the other video, but I'm curious where this one goes.
Of young musicians to compare themselves to the falsehood that you wear like a badge of pride, comparing themselves to an unrealistic standard that they will always fall short of. Always.
Yeah, this is way over the top, bro. This is like a Venus Theory video.
Hi, I have a confession. For the last 2 weeks, I've been lying to you. For science, I promise. Please don't hate me. So you may have seen my video on what I call the Instagram guitarist phenomenon. It's made a kind of resurgence this month, presumably because of this video.
With the dude abandoning his clan in hardcore and people died. Are you talking about the Pirate Software stuff? Because that shit was hilarious, dude. And Pirate Software is a piece of shit. But not really even for that. He's a piece of shit because he's like a fucking narcissist who can't like accept fault ever. But yeah, I mean the whole WoW stuff, that wasn't a big deal.
Where record producer Jacob Hansen reveals how a lot of these super technical Instagram videos are actually fake.
Notice right here, his top...
So we already know about this here.
Phenomenal players, and they're truly pushing the envelope on what's possible on the instrument. And that in itself...
I mean, realistically though, like what they're doing basically is kind of what you do in the music already. You know, the music is edited already. Think about it. Like chord guitar for an album or for a song, I guess they're replacing notes within it, but I guess you don't think of it as live playing. I guess that's the real difference here, is it's like actually you're seeing it in a video and you're expecting them to actually be playing it.
Could be pretty valuable. Am I gonna listen to this for a couple minutes straight? Probably not, if I'm being honest, but I can appreciate it for the short 30-second clip that it is. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe these guitarists are laying the groundwork for a shift in the
Think about this too. They also do this in music videos. Am I defending it? No. But I'm just saying, like, it's not really a groundbreaking shift. It was already happening in the music. It was already happening in music videos. The next step is like it happening in Instagram videos and TikToks.
Overton window of what is aesthetically permissible for guitar in popular music going forward. Perhaps there's a less dramatic version of this that can reinvigorate guitar in popular
Is it just me or does this guy have like a very small body?
music? With hindsight, musical innovation can be pretty neat. I mean, trust me, I am no Van Halen fan, but maybe tapping wouldn't be as mainstream today if, you know, he never existed. But everything said in that video was said under the assumption that the playing wasn't completely fake, an assumption that we may need to reevaluate. Which brings me to my lie.
Okay.
Two weeks ago, I posted this video about microfrets. I made the argument that adding these little fretlets or tastinos to your guitar can be an easy and cost-effective way of getting into microtonality.
There are probably hundreds of young guitarists who just stop playing because of these videos, destroy their confidence after years of practice. That's not cool, right? Yeah, I'm sure there are probably people like that, but also if you're like turned away that easily, that's also a little bit your fault, in my opinion. Like, if you're gonna care enough to stop playing guitar, I would hope to God you at least click on the fucking view comment button, then look at some of the comments and figure out, do some research yourself. Like, in my opinion, like if you got turned off of playing guitar that easily, one, you're not that into it. Well, you're not that into it to the point that some stupid video is gonna turn you off from playing guitar. Two, like you kind of also weren't even willing to look into it a bit further. So is it their fault? I don't know. I kind of feel like it's kind of hard to completely blame these people, especially when people were already doing it.
This part is totally true, and to demonstrate its utility, I did what I always do. End the video with a little riff that demonstrates the concept. Except, what I didn't mention is that part of the performance is totally fake. I lied. And I did it to prove a point.
Wait, what did he lie about? Did he lie about actually like playing it, or did he lie about like not playing?
Jacob's video is great. He does a fantastic job of pulling back the curtain and showing us the ugly truth that is apparently all too real.
One thing that's cool, this guy's actually a fan of the channel, which is sick, because he was like, he actually posted a story when I did a reaction to his video. That was pretty awesome. Didn't expect that.
Some online guitarists out there, but I actually don't think that he went far enough.
I actually didn't record the video at full speed. I recorded it at 85% speed so that I could speed the video up in post to 125% to actually match the full speed of the song.
To me, this video is just a little too, how do you say, maybe obvious? You can hear it in the artifacting of his playing, and you can tell that his demonstration was sped up, all before he even explains that fact.
Well, yeah, maybe if you
always love your videos and glad to catch you live.
Live. Holy shit, yeah, I'm glad you get to catch me live too. Let's hope it stays that way, man. I don't know, I'm a little worried, man. Seriously, thank you for the $25, Uncle Chris. Thank you, man.
To the extent that fake playing on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok exists, and be assured that it does exist, I truly don't think that
I know the way to solve this issue. I think we find the first person who faked their guitar playing, and then we kind of like string them up in the middle of the town, and then everybody looks at them, and then it's just like, okay, this is what happens if you fake your guitar playing. What do you guys think? Is that a good idea? Bad idea? Let me know your thoughts down below.
It exists in large quantities as sped up clips. Because honestly, speeding up
I am joking. That's like satire.
Video is just, it's very noticeable, and I think the problem is more subtle and therefore more sinister than that.
The thing too with these sped up clips too is like a lot of things on Instagram and TikTok already look very unnatural. So seeing this on TikTok and Instagram, it doesn't seem that out of the ordinary, which I think is why people don't really notice it.
Even though that I am directly telling you right now that the clip you're about to see is totally fake.
Why did my audio just stop? I'm not hearing shit. Hold on.
Don't think that the majority of listeners, myself included, could accurately and repeatedly in trial study testing identify exactly where.
Why not get faster? It's possible, but no one wants to work. Well, the thing is with that is it's the higher you get to like your maximum skill level, the harder it gets to get there. You know, like that last like 15% is going to be much harder to do than the previous 85%. You know, it's like something that gets exponentially more difficult.
Or how it was faked. Try it out for yourself. Take a careful listen.
Wait, I'm confused here. I was talking to chat too much. What is he proving right now? What is fake? See, I'm thinking this is actually real. I'm thinking this is actually real, and he's trying to make it seem fake with his, you know, finger jittering and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm thinking this isn't fake. He's doing an old switcheroo here.
So unless you consider adding effects like reverbs and delays or layering in
Wait, was it actually faked? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm still holding out.
Some low impact kick drum,
It really didn't look fake.
to be faking it, there's exactly 3 points in this video that are doctored. It starts with this kind of offbeat thing.
Okay, he wasn't talking about the fucking, like, it's being sped up then. Okay, well, never mind then. He didn't clarify beforehand. He was talking about speeding it up. I'll take the L on that.
And essentially what I wanted to do is add an extra pop in between each note and slap. So what I did is recorded a single in isolation, spliced it in there, and then faded the ends to make it more natural sounding. That's subtle, and the way my hand is placed with this camera angle obfuscates the fact that I did not and could not play these ghost notes. I don't know, maybe if I had more time with it, I could probably get this underneath my fingers in a more...
I mean, this is the sort of thing that nobody cares or would notice is fake, though.
Organic way, but this next falsehood is literally impossible for me to do. Right before I transition into this slow Makam Bayati section, I do this kind of arpeggiated harmonic McFlurry thing.
It is true. People will attack the shamer sometimes. It kind of depends. It depends.
And here
Is the stream sped up? No.
is closer to what I actually did. And then in post, I connected them all together like this and quantized.
Yeah, that seems so fucking fake, dude. When you like really kind of like sit down and analyze it, dude. Like, bro, who is doing their harmonics this fucking clean right here?
I would be terribly surprised if you were suspicious of this part in particular, because I had to do some quick camera cuts to hide my lack of ability to play two different harmonics on the same string at once. Maybe we should be more suspicious of quick camera cuts. Finally, we come to our last
Yes, that's super true, dude. People should be.
deception. Where is it, you may be wondering? Could it be in these super fast triplets? Surprisingly enough, no. That kind of thing is actually fairly easy to pull off.
Oh, sorry.
Or should I say, hammer on. But you know what is really difficult to do? Harmonics. I ended the jam by doing something like... And that's honestly really hard to get right. Evidenced by the fact that when I recorded it, I didn't get it right. I flubbed it. Take a listen to the actual recording. To fix this, I recorded each of these harmonics individually, overlaid it onto my screw-up in post so that, you know, the video would still line up, and finally cut out the original audio. If you were really astute, you probably noticed that there was no string scrape sound where there should have been. That's mostly due to sheer laziness. If I was being really serious about this and I wanted to get it right, I could have recorded a string scrape sound afterward and then matched it up with the video. Imagine
Too much work,
some kind of weird dystopian guitar hellscape where the future's most famous and greatest guitarists are actually just really good Foley artists who Frankenstein only the most pristine and manufactured guitar parts with the sole purpose of matching them to a plausible video as evidence of their supposed virtuosity. Although
Bro, that's actually crazy. Imagine faking a guitar performance video, fake the performance, but in order to make it seem real, you also fake the string noises that would be happening in the spots, as well as any sort of potential mess ups in order to make it look real. Wait until you hear about the fake harpist. How you doing, Emily? Happy Valentine's Day.
Suppose that this kind of already exists in the world of high-end magazine airbrush artists, where it's not uncommon to remove your model's pores only to reintroduce industry-approved pores back into the final photo.
Oh my god. We're removing pores to add more pores. Okay. All right, that does seem like a lot of work, but I get it.
You know, to give the illusion of real, natural, unfettered beauty. Now, how many people are out there actually doing this kind of thing? And I'm talking about your run-of-the-mill editing that...
I mean, I rarely ever see this stuff now. My Instagram feed is like all skateboarding.
Everyone does.
I have before,
talking about like this extreme type of editing that you then go and lie about and say it's not edited. Well, honestly, I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic.
Wait, the lying about the editing bit is what we should hone in on here, not necessarily the editing itself.
That it's not many, but it's definitely not none either. And while there are certainly some telltale signs of editing,
I feel like I don't know, this is not news to me though. This is really not news to me. The only thing I hadn't really considered before this is people faking mess ups in order to make things appear more real, which I don't know if I've ever really seen, but I feel like it's the sort of thing you wouldn't really notice to begin with.
Jacob points out in his video where you see people whose strings are ringing out in video, but then the sound is of them muted. A lot of red flags that you'd think to look for can actually be a little bit misleading. One way to check for editing is to see how well a waveform of a clip aligns to a grid. If each...
Oh my god, this is a very cool guitar clip on Instagram here, but honestly, to check the legitimacy of this, I'm gonna have to analyze the waveform of this in my DAW. I will be right back. I will report my findings. Thank you very much.
Perfectly with each line segment, you can be reasonably sure that the audio has been quantized. I'm not saying that you...
Yeah, this looks way too perfect.
...should or shouldn't quantize your music. Of course, that's a personal choice. I'm just saying that it is a sign of editing. But here's where it can get kind of devious. If we look at the waveform of what I played in that doctored clip, it'll be mostly on because while it was tracked with a clip, the performance is still mostly organic. The waveform ebbs and flows as you'd expect it to from a real, non-edited performance, but...
Oh, this is ridiculous. Yes, it is, and that's why I love it. This is so stupid. It's low stakes. It's the kind of drama you can really sink your teeth into because at the end of the day, nobody's getting hurt out of it, and nobody's going to jail. Some people might be shamed a little bit, but I don't even think that's going to happen.
As we all know, despite this being a rugged, non-quantized, off-grid recording, it's still highly edited, and this, in concert with the video, gives the definite impression that I can do something that I definitely can't do. Your average producer, by the way, can absolutely edit to this high level of detail if they wanted to, inserting intentional imperfections into a performance which would fool even the most astute of observers. By the way, I'm not saying that anyone's doing this
What do you think about punching in? You mean like for a song or for this?
Specifically, I'm just trying to point out how dark the road can get. As of the recording of this video, microtonal frets change everything has garnered an embarrassing 7,000 views. I also posted clips of the riff on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. Fortunately, or
is that a lot for him? That doesn't seem like a lot.
Maybe unfortunately to the psyche of my beginner bassist viewers out there, this batch of clips, shorts, and reels collectively garnered about 100,000 views and around 350 comments. And
there's definitely a difference between like faking the little harmonic sweeps, faking like the entire audio. You know, it's like a spectrum. I don't know.
You know how many of those people question the authenticity of my playing? Zero. Not one soul. I did, however, funny enough, get one comment about how impressive that doctored harmonic arpeggio was. Thank you, commenter Braylon9, for your sacrifice. Wait a minute, but Braylon? Bro, is this your burner account?
Where has the time?
Yeah, I probably eroded some of my audience's goodwill and trust by doing this, but I think it's important because it proves a point.
I don't think so.
This stuff can be really hard to detect. So how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know if something's been doctored? Okay,
Camera
so
cuts.
this know-it-all 42069 is accusing me of faking my bass playing. So we're gonna prove him wrong. We've got no effects, no processing, just the raw camera audio and my unfiltered skill.
The funny thing about like doing this and recording it on just like the camera audio is it all sounds so shitty. It's gonna be a lot harder to even tell if it's fake or if the other one was fake, because then you could just say, well, it was like properly recorded. Whereas this one, it's just the camera audio. It's gonna all sound bad regardless.
Did that sound convincing? Well, I hope by this point in the video your answer is no, because newsflash, that was the most fake one yet. Here's what I did.
Really?
I recorded everything with my camera audio, just like I said. But you didn't actually see me.
You could edit individual notes in the room too. Like record those notes in the room, then you have the room tone with it, then you can go in and quantize it. Wait, that was the most fake one too? I kind of thought it might be, but I didn't have any reason to suspect that.
But you didn't actually see me do it live. You saw me saying all that stuff in the beginning and then miming a version of that riff that I recorded, this time piece by piece, taking the best sections of each and comping it together at a micro level to get the most absolute perfect version of this riff that I could get.
I had a ton of people calling this
I'm confused though, like the timing was like so good though.
video fake, so here's a DI of it, but I'm gonna play you the riff first.
Bro, this looks so fucking edited in comparison, you know? Like, it looks sped up. This looks so sped up. He spent a lot of time on that. Yeah, the thing is, like, your credibility's on the line, though. Credibility where you lied is on the line. So you can understand why people would spend a lot of time on it. Hold on, this is basically just a fucking dubstep song. Can we acknowledge this is basically just a dubstep song on guitar? I can't remember. Was this one actually edited too?
Yeah, I'm just not buying it. To me, there's a bit of a difference between faking and editing. I like to think of it like there's a spectrum of permissibility. What can...
He's like 16? Oh, so he's a psychopath is what you're saying. You might as well just say he's a psychopath. Don't teenagers have the same brain as a psychopath or something like that?
And can't you get away with when it comes to your instrument, videoing yourself playing that instrument, and studio recordings? This, of course, is going to look different for different people.
Kids make stupid moves, let the guy live. Yeah, I agree.
Well, we, at the end of the day, all have our own line and have our own criteria. criteria of when that line is crossed. For example, in 1906, legendary military musician John Philip Sousa,
this guy looks like he would tell some great jokes,
wrote an essay voicing his concerns over the phonograph. He called it the menace of mechanical music. You see, Sousa was decidedly against musical recordings themselves, musing that, quote, "The Nightingale song is delightful because the nightingale herself gives it forth. The boy with a penny whistle and a glass of water may give an excellent impression, but let him persist, and he is sent to bed as a nuisance." Sousa foresaw what he called a marked deterioration of American music and taste because of the invention of sound recordings. To really hammer it in,
Dude, this guy's like the first true hater, dude. He's like, hey, you know what? We can't have people recording and listening to music.
Ended that essay by saying, quote, "It is at the fireside that we look for virtue and patriotism, for songs that stir the blood and fire the zeal, for songs of home, of mother, of love that touch the heart and brighten the eye. Music teaches all that is beautiful in the world. Let us not hamper it with a machine that tells the same story day by day, without variation, without soul, barren of the joy and of the passion." What I'm trying
Bro, this guy's actually spitting, dude. Tell me not. He's spitting.
to get at is
He has a point. He does have a point.
that Mr. Sousa is at the bottom of the permissibility spectrum. He thought that recording music was fake. If there are
Dude, he's like the biggest hater of all time, dude. Like, this guy, like, if he was alive right now, he could not handle reality, dude. He was not okay with people even recording music, let alone where it's at this point, where people are using shit like autotune or Melodyne, I guess, to appear they can sing, because autotune is like obvious that you can't sing.
levels of abstraction here, and recording your music is, say, one level of abstraction away from reality. John Philip Sousa demanded 0 levels of abstraction. Most of us today, I would hope, would say that this is kind of crazy, right? But you know what? We all have our line somewhere. Where's yours? I'll often play with 2, sometimes 3 compressors in my chain when I'm playing bass.
Fake.
It makes techniques like tapping just 100 times easier. I venture to say that most reasonable people would say, yeah, that's totally fine. It falls well with...
Okay. So yeah, it's like one of the worst things you could do here is like fake DI videos, miming, quantization, pitch correction, using guitar VSTs, comping. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
within the permissible side of the spectrum. Yet, clearly, I'm being aided by a tool that helps me sound better than I otherwise could. Sometimes, if the song calls for it, or we only have X amount of time, I might choose to quantize something. Maybe we want a
Electrons are great if you want to menu dive for the rest of your life. I feel like you could say that about all Dallas stuff.
really straight feel to the drums, or for the bass to sit a certain way in the groove. Maybe I missed the one by a hair, so we need to nudge it over a little bit just to make things feel right. Well, now, potentially, we're getting closer to impermissibility, but again, I still think that most people would say that we're generally all right here. Personally, I consider myself to be a sound designer first and a bassist second. The way I choose to express myself through my instrument is more so in the timbre and in the texture and the effects, rather than, how many notes I can shove into a single bar or how well I can phrase a line. Here's a before and after of one of my Instagram jams.
I like how you listed quantization as an effect. Real music producers would never, am I right? Come on, quantization and effect, come on. Fake producer, spotted! We found one! We found a fake! What the hell, dude? It doesn't even sound anything like this anymore.
Is laying on the effects that thick misleading? Maybe. I mean, this commenter seems to think so. It certainly sounds way different with effects than it does with only the minimal processing, but to me, it's totally...
Wait, hold on. What? No, there is a difference between a little bit of EQ and reverb and whatever dubstep effects and synthesizers you put over that bass. Wait, hold on. Bro, how out of touch are you to call this shit dubstep? Well, this person might be a fucking idiot. I mean, they seem like a fucking idiot.
Sounds way different with effects than it does with only the minimal processing. But to me, it's totally okay and permissible because as a sound designer, the effects are kind of the whole point. And I'm very upfront about that. And because of that, funny enough, I paradoxically consider the final product with all the effects and stuff to be more authentic to myself rather than the first video. But you know what? Others are going to see it differently. I'm sure to many of you watching, this crosses the line. Occasionally when we're tracking in the studio, I might have to punch in a section that I flubbed in an otherwise decent take. Again, I think that most people, particularly musicians who record in studios a lot, will think this is pretty par for the course. But what if you have to punch in more than just occasionally? What if it's every single note?
So do you see all of those lines? Those are all
separate
cuts.
audio files that have been put into one take. We got up to like 87 takes.
Wow. Wow.
Different take, right? So this is all one take. And then
Different take.
different take,
Different take.
different take.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember this.
And you would never know.
I can totally see how someone would look
Yeah,
at
we
that.
would never know if you didn't just fucking show us.
Yeah, that's my line right there. It's just too much editing for me. And what of these highly technical Instagram musicians who covertly or sometimes overtly add extra notes to their playing? The Instagram...
I would probably argue, wait, hold on. In terms of permissibility, the miming as well as the misleading people with a fake DI video playthrough are basically the same thing. I mean, unless he's like thinking of miming in a different way than I am. But like, that seems like kind of like the same thing to me. I don't know.
sometimes overtly, add extra notes to their playing. The Instagram guitarist who is so hell-bent on feeding the algo with the most...
Actually, it doesn't show that she's really bad at singing, because it could also be that they just like those takes. Like maybe the tone, they preferred the tone more in the one versus the other. It doesn't even mean that she's bad at singing. Like sometimes just doing different takes, you can get different, maybe a little more magic in that one than the other for some reason on that one specific.
insane, impossible guitar solo that they lose themselves in a desperate attempt to keep up with the sheer speed of their carefully curated riffage, miming track after track to prove to the world, or to themselves, that they are indeed the ultimate god of guitar. My guess?
Another problem with this sort of thing too is like the ego it must help create within yourself, you know? Constantly editing everything, make yourself appear to be a god. At a certain point, you might just see yourself as a god. That sounds really stupid, but I think there is some truth to that.
Most people would rightfully call bullshit. And they do. Just look at the comments. And I'd just like to take a second and say, I know that I, and Jacob before me, have given this guy a lot of shade, and honestly, I don't even necessarily mean to. The truth of the matter is that if we divorce the audio from the video, it sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it is cool.
Honestly, I kind of dig it. I could totally see myself sampling parts of that for a song. Which brings me to my final point before I give some possible solutions to this fake Instagram guitarist crisis. In sound...
One thing he didn't really address I talked about earlier is it's almost not even this guy's fault in particular. Like I said, like it's kind of like one person, whoever the first person was that started doing it, they started doing it and then other people saw it and they're like, wait, I need to do that too. It's an arms race. It doesn't even make him a bad player. You know, he could actually still be a good guitar player, that is.
And in music, I think everything is permissible. To me, music is all about making just really cool sounds and then expressing yourself in different ways with those sounds. However you need to get there, whatever you need to do to make the sounds that you want to make, it's totally okay.
I didn't really like this part of the video very much. I don't know. A little lame. It's a little lame, dude. It's a little lame.
One giant caveat. You gotta be honest about it. Transparency is the only ethical path forward, particularly when you display your skills.
Yeah, that's definitely better.
Skills on video. Personally, I'm okay when someone mimes their playing. Obviously, I mime my playing all the time. I think everyone...
I mean, I do agree that people should be transparent about it.
...understands that pretty much everyone does this, and you aren't literally filming the exact take that you're hearing. And I'm okay with editing too. Honestly, like, again, it's if that's the sound you want to create, go for it. But when you make a dedicated video just to say, hey, look, I'm not faking my playing, I can do this, here's the camera
I said that
audio,
earlier, I killed
and
everybody.
then you go ahead and fake that,
It's like a spectrum.
unequivocally crossing the line into the impermissible. You are lying to your audience, and the audience
You're lying to your audience with all of this to some degree. Like it's a spectrum though.
deserves better.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with him. We're on the same page here. But it's all basically just lying, just to various degrees.
Because guess what? A high percentage of your audience, because of your niche, are going to be musicians themselves. And all you're doing by being dishonest to them is discouraging beginner guitarists from pursuing what could be a very rewarding journey of learning music.
I don't really like the take of this discouraging people. I feel like, first off, it's kind of soy. I feel like if you're being discouraged this easily, you weren't really that deep into it. Also, it shouldn't be the thing that stops you from playing guitar if you actually like playing guitar. If that's the thing that stops you from playing guitar, you probably weren't cut out for it to begin with.
By being dishonest, you convince an entire generation of young musicians to compare themselves to the falsehood that you wear like a
Oh god, this is so fucking soy. He's really soying out about this now. I don't like this.
badge of pride, comparing themselves to an unrealistic standard that they will always fall short of. Always.
Like, we gotta remember, we're not talking about fucking beauty standards here. We're talking about people playing guitar on Instagram. Like, it's not really that. It's not really that big of a deal.
To bring it back to modeling
Not even trying to defend it.
and Photoshop, a reference which I'm sure my 90% male musician audience will be all too thrilled to hear about, American supermodel Cindy Crawford once famously said, "I wish I looked like Cindy Crawford." I wonder how many guitarists out there and on Instagram,
I don't like this, dude. This is the only part of this video I don't like.
wouldn't it be so much better to, I don't know, get thousands of views because you're a wicked, talented sound designer than to get hundreds of thousands of views because you rage baited your audience by pretending to be an inhuman mechanical riff machine? Which brings me to a possible solution for this crisis, or three possible solutions to this crisis. Okay. One, please don't film yourself pretending to do the impossible. If you have to edit together some sort of insane riff because you don't actually have the skill to pull it off, that's fine. That's totally fine if you like how it sounds, but you probably shouldn't then film yourself pretending like you can do it, no problem. And definitely, and I mean definitely, don't, upon being called out for this, make a response video doubling down and faking.
That is so fucking funny. That's my favorite part of this whole thing. Are the people getting called out or faking their guitar playing? So then in response to that, they create a video of them like doing a direct input, recording with a room camera, and then they fake that too. That's my favorite fucking part. That's so good. I mean, it's fucking terrible. Like, it's fucking terrible that they're like such dishonest people, but it's just funny that people will go to that link in order to just appear real.
It's even worse. You're giving people a false impression, and you're probably discouraging a lot of people who are new to the instrument. Just admit it and move on. 2, film yourself, but put some sort of disclaimer on the video. Guitarist
Absolutely no one's gonna fucking do that, dude. No one's gonna do that. I'm sorry.
and YouTuber Ben Levin comes to mind for this one. He did this video a long time ago showing that you can actually do some pretty neat things when you speed up your playing. But Ben being Ben and being years ahead of the curve did the ethical thing and slapped a giant "this is sped up" label on the videos where he does that.
Why would people do this on Instagram, dude?
3, if you have to have a video because you're playing the social media game, make it real obvious that you're not actually playing. Look, I totally get it. As a musician who's also a content creator, it doesn't really matter how inventive or technically impressive your playing is. It honestly doesn't even matter how good or beautiful your songs are.
The reason why I think no one would do this whole like put a disclaimer to say it's edited, is because 1, it's like distracting from the point. Oh, the point is like the video itself, right? So you're just slapping this text like right in the middle. It says like, I edited this. 2, people are gonna care less about it because of that. And I'm not saying I don't agree with like people doing that. Like, it would be nice, but people aren't gonna do that.
That you're not actually playing. Look, I totally get it. As a musician who's also a content creator, it doesn't really matter how inventive or technically impressive your playing is. It honestly doesn't even matter how good or beautiful your songs are. If you don't play the social media game and have, you know, a catchy video to go with it, you won't get traction and no one's gonna listen to your music. This, of course, is further complicated if music is how you make your living. So if you have to have a video that goes with your super impossible edited guitar playing, make it really obvious that you're not actually playing it, or
I don't see how that fixes anything.
include a window of your editing software. RJ Payson does a really good job of this, I think.
No, he did not do a good job of this for the longest time. I think he got called out for it so much that he started to do it. For the longest time, he was not doing this. I actually watched this guy kind of blow up in real time on Instagram. I was at the ground floor of this guy's shit, and like he was not making it clear that it was edited. Maybe he does at this point, but I really think it's probably like from so many people calling him out.
He's someone who strikes me as someone who's also a sound designer first, who just happens to make sounds on a guitar. And it's obvious that everything he does is super edited.
Yeah, he was not doing this for the longest time. I think after so many people were calling him out about it, he started to do it.
I think that's very intentional. He doesn't try and obfuscate or blur that line. He's super upfront about exactly what he does and how he does it.
I don't like the way this guy's going with this. Like he's a late fan to this guy because this guy was not doing this for the longest time.
And I think this is great because it really gives us a license to enjoy the sounds for what they
Funny thing is he's actually kind of giving this guy an easy out. It's kind of giving him an easy out, bro. Like, I don't know.
are. We're not caught up in, is he playing what he's actually playing or is he not? No, we're just listening to the sounds, which is where the focus should be.
There's multiple guitars playing at once here, which is really funny to me. Like, imagine like people that don't know shit about guitar and they're like, wow, that sounds really good. Meanwhile, there's like multiple guitars playing at once, like perfectly in sync with each other.
On that note, and in the interest of internet guitar ethics, I've deleted or privated all of the reels from
You get called and change his behavior, that's a good thing. No, I agree with that, but I'm just saying the guy in this video doesn't even mention that. I'm guessing he was probably late to following RJ Payson and it just doesn't even know that.
Last 2 weeks that had this jam in it, and I've put a big disclaimer in the description, pinned comment, and in the screen.
So I don't even really like personally blame this guy because maybe he doesn't even know.
Caption on my microfrets video. I pledge going forward that if I ever do this kind of editing for whatever reason, that I'll slap a giant on-screen note saying that it was edited. I am not interested in showing people how much better at bass I am than them. I really just care about making cool sounds. And
For people who do this sort of thing, I don't even know if it's about appearing to be better. I think it's just about the views. They know they're going to get way more views with like a perfect edit. So that's why they do it.
Let's make some crazy sounds and let's be ethical about it. What do you think, Jordy? Should we ask the good people of YouTube to like and subscribe to the channel? Huge thank you to all of my patrons.
Pretty good video overall. There's some things in it that, I don't know, really agree with. Like some of the ethical, moral stuff is a little bit lame.